welcome to We Poets. Unfortunately, Sally Baker couldn't be with us today, so my name is David Flores. I'll be your host today. And today I'm joined by a young man named, if you could please tell us your name in a nice loud voice, your name, how old you are, and what school you go to.
My name is Andrew. I go to Oxford Elementary School, and I'm 11 years old.
11 years old. What a wonderful age to be in. Andrew, what kind of hobbies do you have? What do you do for fun?
I play some sports, biking, like with my friends, like playing video games sometime, or just like going out to stores and seeing stuff.
Okay, what kind of sports do you play?
Right now in my school, I'm playing actually flag football, and it's pretty fun. Like, yeah, I've played basketball in the past before, like last year in 4th grade. It was pretty good.
Nice. What position do you play in football?
I play a center.
Center, cool. It must be nice playing with your friends, getting out there, being active.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite things about that?
Just like working as a team, and like it's not always about winning. It's more like having fun. 'Cause like it's like our last year in 5th grade, so like we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff like playing football with my friends, playing basketball, going on field trips, stuff like that.
And I imagine whenever you're leaving 5th grade, some of your friends are going to go to the same school as you the next step, and others might go off to a different school. For you, what is it going to be like if you continue playing football, seeing your friends from 5th grade on another team?
For me, it's gonna be kind of tough because, like, I think by middle school they do tackle, and it's gonna be like, I'm gonna feel bad if I have to tackle my friends.
Especially playing center, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So you do football, but you also play basketball?
And some soccer.
And soccer. What's your favorite?
Soccer.
Soccer? What do you like about soccer?
Mostly everything. It's like very entertaining. And like it's like in basketball, if you score a goal, it's not like a big deal, because like they always go like to 200, but like in soccer, the highest they will go to 3, and then like it goes very crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Because soccer, the scores are way lower.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Soccer's hard for me because you can't use your hands. Unless you're the goalie, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever play goalie?
Sometimes, but it gets scary because like I'd be playing with my teachers, and like when they click the ball, it scares me because I just see the ball coming towards me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but I bet you're really good at anticipating where it's going to be and being in the right spot. Cool. All right. So let's see. You said you do sports, but you also play video games. What do you play?
Like Fortnite, like The Crew. It's like a driving game, and like mostly it. Like I like to play car games.
Okay. You like cars?
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of a car are you going to have one day?
I want a BRZ.
A BRZ? I don't know what that is. Is
Subaru.
that a Subaru? Oh, cool. You want to do some off-road driving? Cool. All right. Well, let's see. Have you traveled anywhere?
No.
No?
I think the farthest I've gone was going to Yosemite.
What do you think about Yosemite?
It's nice, cause like I think we've been there like 3 times before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty nice. The water's very cold.
You got in the water?
Yeah, it's very cold. But comparing to Lake Tahoe's water very warm. But
Mm-hmm. Well, did you see any wild animals when you were in Yosemite?
so not this year, but I think last time we went, a snake almost bit my foot.
Wow. Well, hopefully not a poisonous snake. Do you know what kind it was?
All I knew it was black and it was a water snake.
Oh, man. How'd you feel?
It was scary because like there's a bridge, but like you're not supposed to climb it, so I climbed it.
Yeah, okay. How big was the snake?
Like 13 inches.
That sounds like bigger than I would want a snake to be getting near me, especially if it was coming at me trying to bite me. Well, I'm glad you made it out of there safely. But maybe now don't climb on those bridges. Okay, let's see. What are some of your favorite foods?
Ooh. So my dad makes this very good Mexican food. It's called chipotle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like orange sauce, but it's a little spicy, with white rice and like chicken, and then you put some butter. It's very good.
Okay, and you mix it all together?
Yeah, you mix the sauce with the white rice and just mix it, and it's good.
That sounds really good. And has he taught you how to make it? Do you know how to make it?
Not yet.
No. Do you like cooking? Do you cook?
I bake.
You bake? What kind of stuff do you bake?
I bake cookies, like cinnamon rolls, like cupcakes. I think I did that one time for like Christmas. I baked a cake and cupcakes.
Man, I hear baking's hard. What do you think? Have you experienced that?
Not much.
No. What's your favorite part about baking?
Like, like if it comes out wrong, you can just try it again. But like, it's also fun. Like, cause if you never baked it before, you don't know how it's gonna come out. Like, maybe you did something wrong, but it comes out good.
Okay. Hey, well, that's like a lot of things in life, including poetry. And I hear you're a poet, Andrew. Is that correct?
Something like that.
Yeah, I hear you have a poem you want to share with us today. Cool. All right. Well, in a nice big voice, let's have you read your poem to us, and then we'll ask you all about it.
Who I am. I like the Golden State Warriors, especially Steph Curry, because he shoots a lot of three-pointers. I want a black car with slanted wheels, that's a BRZ, to drive to LA with Diego. I hope I become a famous soccer star and play for Barcelona and for Brazil's national team. I miss Pelé, the soccer player, because he was the best player of all time. I hate writing because it takes up a lot of time. I believe in God and that he is real. I fear heights, like climbing a tall ladder and looking down. I love everything about soccer, like the players, the teams, and all the special moves like the rainbow. I worry when I grow up I will not be funny like I am now. I wonder how to fix cars because it's interesting. I dream to be a video gamer because it's a fun job.
That was a wonderful poem, Andrew. What inspired you to write it?
When I first got the assignment from my teacher, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what to do. But after I thought more, I started to think about things that I liked. And so then I was writing that, because for light, when I said I believe, I was thinking hard. But then I said I believe in God, because he's real and he's always by our side.
That's wonderful. All right, well, we're running out of time, so I have one last question for you, and I think you might have mentioned it in your poem. What do you want to be when you grow up?
A mechanic.
A mechanic. That's great, and then you can work on your car. Awesome. Hey, well, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on We Poets and being here. You want to give a shout out to anybody while you're here on the TV?
For my family, probably.
Shout out to the family. Okay, well, let's give a wave to our audience and tell them bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. And we're all real proud of Andrew for coming on here and being on We Poets. All right, have a good day, y'all. Hi, folks, and welcome back to We Poets. I'm your host, David. Sally, unfortunately, couldn't be here today. But I'm joined by Zoe. Zoe, could you please tell us your name, what you do for the city, and a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Zoe. I live in Berkeley, and I work with the Zero Waste Division for the City of Berkeley, and that's within the Public Works Department. It's just started recently and still learning all the ropes, but yeah, we do a lot of different things, from like helping all of the drivers that are out there collecting, all of your bins, helping to do education with the community, so letting people know what goes where, and if there's something that maybe like doesn't go in your curbside bin, like it needs to go to a special facility, as well as doing outreach and helping people understand like why things go where they go, like why does it matter, as well as like other initiatives. So there's a lot of different kind of tasks that we're working on. There's a new state law, fairly new law, requiring that everyone needs to compost. So helping businesses and residents like get that compost, that green bin set up, and understanding like what goes in it and what doesn't. And the goal of that legislation is to help fight climate change, like fundamentally. I could get into more detail later about why that is, as well as to create healthy compost, like a soil amendment to grow food for our communities. So there's a lot of different tasks that the Zero Waste Division is working on.
Yeah, wow, that sounds like a multifaceted mission you all do. I didn't realize so much went into it. But yeah, let's get into some of the nitty gritty of that. Well, one, what inspired you to do this type of work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think when I think about it, like when I was a kid, I went on some field trips, like in 4th and 5th grade, that were kind of like environmental, like biology focused. Like I remember specifically going to the Marin Headlands and learning about like all the animals there and seeing like bioluminescence in the water. And they were talked a little bit about like waste back then, I think. And then in college, I studied biology and just got really interested in like the natural world and like our relationship with it and impact on it, like how we can have a positive impact. And yeah, before this work, I worked with Stop Waste on their schools team. And Stop Waste is the Alameda County Waste Management Authority, basically like a public agency trying to help everyone in Alameda County learn how to like sort your materials into different bins, but also how to like reduce waste in the first place. And so in my role there, I was giving tours of a transfer station to elementary school students, which was, I really learned a lot from that role and use a lot of what I learned there and what I'm doing now with the City of Berkeley. So I think what motivates me is just trying to like have a positive impact on my community and the planet.
That's amazing. And let me ask, because I know that some of our Oxford Elementary School students, they've done projects within their class to get as little waste to go into the dump. Is that something that you were involved with?
No, but I did hear about that. Yeah, it was really inspiring. I think I heard about how they created like maybe a jar of waste.
Throughout the whole year.
Yeah, that is incredible. And I think, like what I learned somewhat from working at Stop Waste was like how important it is to like listen to kids and like hear their voices and their ideas about how to solve like a lot of the issues that we have in our communities. And definitely was very inspired by trying to help like support them take action. Like the adults don't have all the answers.
That's true.
Sure.
But as I understand, you have some answers for some of my pressing questions, which are like, it's the holidays. What should I do with my holiday tree once I'm done with it?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. So lots of us like to bring in green things during the holidays to like help your house smell better and just the holiday spirit. And so it depends on what type of tree you have. So for example, if you have, where are my snippers? A natural tree like this, this is a pretend tiny tree. Basically, you have two options. You can either chop it up and make sure that it fits into your green bin. So you'd chop it up into small pieces, less than 3 feet per little piece of scrap. Make sure that fits all the way into your green bin. And then you would chop the whole thing up and close the top. So you have to make sure that the lid closes, otherwise our drivers aren't able to pick it up. And your other option, if you have a natural tree like this, is to bring it down to the transfer station, which is where we work. And in January, you can drop off your tree, your natural tree, for free, and it'll be brought to a composting facility. If you do have an unnatural tree, so let's say, for example, you have a tree that is made of plastic, or like this is a natural tree, but it has flocking on it, so that's like fake snow. That unfortunately cannot be composted because it has synthetic material. So with that, you would either chop it up and place it in your gray landfill bin, also known as your garbage bin, or you can bring that to the transfer station and pay a fee to have it be disposed as landfill. But no matter what type of tree you have, it's important that you remove any decorations. So like tinsel like this would have to go in the landfill container. And yeah, just making sure that you're being mindful of what you're doing with your trees.
Okay. And so we cut them up, we put them in the compost,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever we can't goes in the landfill. What happens to the trees afterwards, once they get picked up?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, these carts here, you might see them, at your house, at your school, and they don't just disappear once you throw something away. There's like a whole journey that happens after you put something in your bin. So for example, with the compost, early in the morning, we have truck drivers that get up really early and come by your house, your business, your school to pick up that material. So basically they would dump that cart into their truck and then take it all the way down to the transfer station. And the transfer station is the first stop of the material, no matter which bin you put it in. They're all brought to the transfer station. And then they take different journeys. So for example, with this Christmas tree, this material is brought to the transfer station and then it is dumped in a giant pile at the transfer station. And the next step is that big trucks take this out to Vernalis, which is kind of like out in the country from here. And there's a giant compost facility where basically they dump all the material in a row. And then the FBI, or the fungus, bacteria, and invertebrates, like tiny organisms, break this down and they turn it into compost, which is like a really nutritious soil amendment. And the next step from there is farmers use that compost to grow our food, as well as we do take some of that compost back. And if you've ever been to the Berkeley Marina, you can go, and anybody can go with your family, bring some shovels and buckets, and you can take some of that compost home to grow your own fruits and vegetables. And then ideally, if you had, like a scrap of some old lettuce from the stuff you grew, you could put that in your compost bin, and then the cycle starts again, and nothing is actually wasted. It gets reused.
Wow, that's amazing. And did I hear you correctly saying the FBI is involved with this?
That's correct. The fungus, bacteria, and invertebrates.
That FBI.
Without them, yeah, the world would be a sad place.
That's amazing. And I love that it's all cyclical. So it's part of a self-contained system that you all are helping to promote. But, the holidays, it isn't just trees. We also have all this shiny gift wrapping paper, super processed stuff. What do we do with that type of stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yeah, around the holidays, like Americans produce about 25% more waste than during other times of the year. So it's really an opportunity to, I think, get creative, and I love to try to make things that are homemade. So instead of ordering something online, maybe making something, for example, my friend made me this little felt owl from scratch, and I had some extra chopsticks like these that were clean but hadn't really been used for anything, and so then I made this little fruit basket holder out of them. So drilled a bunch of holes and then turned it into this little fruit basket, which is a cool gift. So I like to think of how you can use what you already have to make something that's homemade and meaningful, as well as instead of maybe buying something, you could give an experience, so a gift card or something like that. And actually in Berkeley, we have something called Berkeley Bucks, where you can give an e-gift card, and someone can go to over 100 different local businesses to really, support the community. Or maybe you love, your family loves going to the movies or a museum or something. That's another great type of gift that you could give. And knowing that sometimes there is going to be packaging or plastic things that do have to be discarded. So for example, wrapping paper. If you have wrapping paper that can easily tear, and it doesn't look shiny or anything like that, that most likely can go in your recycling bin, because that'll be turned into another fiber paper product. If it looks super shiny, or it has decorations or any type of synthetic kind of plastic material, unfortunately that has to go into your landfill bin, because we don't want that to contaminate the compost. We don't want plastic in the compost. And one test that I mentioned, if you try to rip it and it really isn't ripping easily, and you can kind of see a thin layer of plastic, that's one way to tell if it does belong in the landfill bin.
Wow, I love this fruit basket that you
Thank
made. May I ask, how long does something like this take to make, and where can people find instructions on how to create something like that?
Yeah, well, that took me a long time to make because I'm very kind of detail oriented, and I had to like drill a bunch of holes. So I would say many hours. And I think I just looked online for maybe like creative reuse gifts, and found put like step-by-step instructions. So there's a lot of really good resources out on the internet, or just like talking to, like meeting with other people that like to craft. Like I've done that too.
Well, I love getting crafty, and this seems like something that when someone receives it, they'd really appreciate the thought and the effort that went into it. But I know some people have old toys and stuff. What is something that they can do with those?
Yeah, so depending on what the item is, I like to encourage people to really think about like, what is it made of and where did it come from, and just get curious about it. So like, for example, let's say you had maybe like an old skateboard that still works, but you're not into skateboarding anymore. Finding another person or place that would want to use it, so rehoming it, like bringing it to a local thrift store or secondhand store, or maybe finding a cousin or family member to like give it to, so that it can be loved again. If it's something that is a little bit broken, like maybe you have like a stuffed animal that has a tear in it or something like that, I think that's like a great opportunity to learn a new skill, like learn how to sew, so you could try and repair that item. As well as if you have maybe like a remote controlled car that's not working, something electronic. There's really great resources in the community like fix-it clinics, where people can teach you how to fix the things yourself. And I found it's really like empowering to learn how to fix something, and you also learn how it works in the process. And if it's really broken, you're like having a hard time coming up with a creative idea of what to do with it. If it's electronic, that actually does not go in your curbside bin. That has to be brought to a special facility called like an electronic waste facility. And one really great way to figure out, so if you're wondering like, where do I bring, like an old string of Christmas lights, there's a resource online called re:/source, and that was created by Stop Waste, I mentioned earlier. Basically, you type in, what do I do with blank in where I live, like in Berkeley. So I could say like, what do I do with broken Christmas lights in Berkeley? And it shows you a whole list of facilities that will take that material or try to recycle it if they're able to, as well as places that might be able to like reuse or repair materials. So that's a really useful tool that recommend everybody check it out.
Yeah, and for those who may not know, Sally Baker, a host of We Poets, has actually gone and done a episode about e-waste, and
cool.
We toured the recycling center and had them walk us through the process of what a piece of electronics goes through whenever it's being recycled. So that's awesome. Which brings me to, why is it important for us to recycle and compost?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like what I was saying before, right, depending on which bin you put something in, it has a very different journey, like a different fate. So if you have, for example, some scraps like this, and maybe you didn't have access to these bins, just didn't have time, and you threw this in the landfill bin, that actually can create some problems. So the reason that is that anything you throw in the landfill bin, basically your hands are the very last ones to touch it. So there's not going to be anybody or any machines that are sorting that material, trying to figure out if it's still reusable, and all of those items are brought to the landfill. And a landfill is what it sounds like. We basically fill the land with all of the things we decided to throw away, and it's smushed and then sealed. So those items, those natural resources, can never be used again, basically. And it's actually especially problematic if you put any natural material like plants or food in the landfill bin. Because what happens is in a landfill, there's like no oxygen. So all the oxygen gets like squished out by gravity and by bulldozers. And then things don't break down naturally. So instead, they create a harmful gas called methane. And this rises into the atmosphere and contributes to climate change. So like I was saying before, the reason that California passed that law that wants everyone to compost is to help fight climate change. And so one of the best things that you can do as an individual to help make our communities like more climate resilient is to make sure you're composting your food scraps, your plant debris, and also reducing any food waste in the first place.
Okay. Well, I have a couple more questions for you, Zoe. One, I've heard you say transfer station a couple times. Can you tell the audience that may not know what a transfer station is? What a transfer station is, and in Berkeley, where they can find it?
Yeah. So Berkeley, actually, we have our own transfer station, which is pretty unique. And transfer station is where all of these materials that are in your curbside bins go before they head to their next destination. So all these materials are brought there to the transfer station, which is down at 2nd Street and Gilman in Berkeley. And if you are like a landscaper or do construction, you can actually bring your own materials down there and then pay, depending on the type of material, to drop it off there. And so there's basically big piles of materials at the transfer station. And like at least once a day, things get cleared from the transfer station and brought either to the landfill, to a compost facility, or recycling. There's many different destinations depending on the material, like if it's metal or plastic or glass, and those get turned into something new, things that you put in the recycling bin.
Okay. And where can people go to learn more about, or how to properly recycle specific pieces of material?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So we do have some like resources, like posters that we can provide to like any new business that is starting up. We'll meet with you on site and then explain what goes where and why. And we also have resources online. So Stop Waste has some free like sign maker tools, so you can create your own signs on their website, as well as I mentioned the resource app. If you go to stopwaste.org and type in resource, that has a lot of really helpful things to help you figure out what to do with your different materials, as well as reaching out to customer service at the City of Berkeley. So if you need to start your own service or change it or answer some questions, that's the first place to call. So if you call 311 when you're in the City of Berkeley, that's also a great resource.
Yeah, that's awesome that the city is working to make it so accessible for folks. So, Zoe, in the spirit of the holidays, say I had a bunch of leftover cardboard. Do you have any gift ideas for what I could do with that?
Yeah, so right here actually is something I made with some kids that I babysit. And I went to the public library and got a book about reuse gift ideas, and this was one of them. So it's basically a basketball shooting game. So this is cardboard that was reused, as well as this is like something that had some fruit in it, and then like a bottle cap right here. And basically you load the basketball right here, and then let's see how this goes. Take a shot,
Nice.
and it rolls out through here. It's kind of hard to make it
Yeah, that's tough.
in the bin, but with a little bit of practice. And you can also take a shot just like this.
Oh, and it lights up when you
yeah,
get
I got
it.
a little light right there that lights up. Let's see if I can make it up there. There you
Wow.
go. And keep track of the score
Two-pointer.
right there. Yeah, and my goal is to make it so it's like recycling, landfill, and compost, and then you like label these balls with what type of material it is, so it's kind of like a quiz.
Wow.
So yeah, that was.
I love this idea for creatively reusing stuff. And also, speaking of reusable, you were mentioning about certain bottles are better for being able to reuse them.
Yeah, so one thing in Berkeley is that we're really encouraging people to use reusables instead of like a single-use item and just throwing it away to the landfill. So for example, if you go to like a boba shop, you could bring this reusable cup and ask them to fill it up in here with this reusable straw. And that's just like really a great way to help eliminate like litter and pollution. And we really encourage anyone who's curious about that. There's more information on our website as well as on Stop Waste's website.
Great. Well, check it out. Well, any final messages for our watching audience out there?
Yeah, but I think it's really about doing your best, not like one person doing it perfectly, but like everybody, just try to do their part to help make our communities like healthier and safer.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thanks so much for having me, and yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on to We Poets. And with that, Zoe, let's wave to our audience and tell them goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, folks.